let me just do this. I'll sit up back here. Oh, goodness, I hope they can hear. We'll just have to talk really loud, which that's okay. My neighbors can deal with that. Okay. Okay, it takes like literally 5 to 10 minutes to get crap out. Like send out the, I don't like that, to send out the notifications to everybody. Hi. How far can I do that without them putting it in vertical? Okay, maybe that'll work. Okay. I'm not a videographer. Don't say anything to me. Okay, it takes a good, 5 to 10 minutes, but what I'm going to do is we're just going to have a conversation. Y'all can watch it if you're interested in this. And if you see something or you have like a normal question that you know probably has been asked 50,000 times, you can go to Odyssey and go through her videos on the Synergy channel, PSINERGY, and that's where you get all your FAQs. So we're just having a conversation. Hi, Crystal. We're just having a conversation. Hi, Ashley. Because y'all know it's important for me to portray her as a human being because not everybody sees her in that manner. So we're just going to sit out here and have a tit for tat and let y'all follow along. I hope you can hear everything. It's pretty quiet out here this morning. Right now. It may not be later. So if y'all don't know, this is Miss Sabrina Wallace. And she's visiting. And she's kind of internet famous.
Oh, Lord. Is that Crystal from?
Yeah, that's Crystal.
Crystal,
Yeah.
Crystal, let the Ko-Fi people know. Nobody knows we're on the fly.
Ko-Fi hates me. I'm drinking Mellow Yellow because without this, I won't be able to function today. Been burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, but it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been very fun. I just had a migraine last night, so we got slowed down a little bit with that. I got sick last night. It's just where my ears have been screwed up lately. So, okay, so if you don't know, this is Sabrina Wallace. You find her everywhere. You find videos of her everywhere. And it's kind of like the internet is currently devouring the information that she brings to it, and everybody's got really polarized opinions of her. And what I like to do when she's with me is just introduce you to my best friend instead of like feed the beast kind of, and that, you know, all the information that people want. So this is just Brina Dawn. This is who does my dishes half the time when she's here. So we're just going to chit chat and you know, we like to thrift shop, and we normally always have stuff to swap when we see each other. And then Kim came out. Kim made those t-shirts that y'all saw in the post last night. Kim made those for us because we have inside jokes about our friendship. So Kim made those shirts for us last night. Just vinyl that you can cut and t-shirts from Walmart. You know, real easy.
In the best colors.
Yeah, those were. I think the colors were gorgeous. I really love those colors. She needs to write that combo down and make some more stuff like that. That was the best color combo ever.
Gorgeous.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about stuff we've been talking about and let y'all kind of be a fly on the wall and glean from it what you will and want and move on from there. We got Margaret. We got Kimbo's in here. I was just bragging about your t-shirts. Jamie, Xander, Crystal, Mickey's here, Ashley's here, and then we got Ash in here as well. Tony's here. Got a lot of people in here. And we'll just leave this up so y'all can I've just got to tilt it so you can see kind of both of us, because YouTube won't let you do the horizontal anymore because apparently they hate us. I don't know. So we're just going to leave it like this. Y'all can kind of sift through. I'm stuck in the corner over here with a very swollen face this morning. Okay. So some of the stuff we were talking about earlier is the political landscape right now. And I'm just going to turn and talk to you because it's the political landscape right now. My view on politics is nobody's going to come out unscathed. Number one, because ammunition has been confounded and locked away for decades against every politician. Anyone that rises to power, somebody's constantly monitoring them and logging away information to use against them at any point in time. So nobody's going to come out unscathed. But what people have a hard time with is they find one flaw in somebody and they retract completely all of their input. And I find that stupid because everybody's families have got multiple flaws, but you don't remove your love from your family, because there are things that are more important. So I'm like, is society ever going to go back to understanding that it's not a hot or cold, it's not an all or nothing, but it's more of a wave response to these things. We have to take a little bit of backlash at times and understand we don't agree with everything. But now you even see that in the people that come to your channel, because the videos to where you do have the higher emotional response, they get more views, right? Because they feed into that. They like to see you angry,
or they just
they don't.
Well, if it's okay to respond to that, I have a very difficult time, as you know, not being angry about my healthcare choices being removed from my control. And I thought that would be human.
It is, yeah.
Well, I thought. But then every time, like you just said, well, she's so angry. And I'm thinking, well, this is not okay. No matter who you are, no matter what age you are, I thought it would be okay to defend my body. No. And I can't, for me personally, I have no ability to rectify that on that professional scale of, well, these people know better than me. But they're not going to tell me what they're doing. And they've been selling access to my body for 30 years. And now they're doing it wide open on the NASDAQ and the rest of it. But we're not allowed to talk about it. I cannot make that.
See, for me, I think when people come to your channel and they make that assumption about she's so angry, I think they're doing it because they find a lot of importance in what you're saying and a lot of truth, but it also scares them. So if they can devalue you on any plane, then they can say, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And it comforts them because they don't want to know what is actually happening.
Yeah, that was a comment on my Rumble channel actually within the last 48 hours. They said, Sabrina, a different perspective.
Yeah.
I think the reason that people talk down about you before they present your information, and I said, please don't do that in these articles. Just talk about it. It's right there.
Yeah, just talk about the information, leave the person out of it.
Right. Yeah. But the gentleman that said, he said, just a different perspective, no offense. But it's so frightening to them. And they don't want to believe it themselves. So that's part of why they tear you down in different places, because they're trying to like normalize the landscape of comprehension.
Well, and people, when they're uncomfortable, they do have to justify why they're uncomfortable. They do try to justify why they're uncomfortable, and then they try to build a profile that goes behind what they believe, so they can further justify, why they're uncomfortable. And people we're humans. We don't like to live in discomfort. So that's why we, and so it's very difficult for people to get information, because information is normally gotten through growth, and growth is very rarely comfortable.
Get outside your echo chamber.
Yeah, if Bob said, if I ever think I'm the smartest person in the room, I normally leave the room because I'm not learning anything there. And I will get up and leave.
And there's some very disparate. This is what I was going to say in the house. The youth versus, and I'm talking like even by 8 years, 10 years, is very different. And they keep bringing up Gen Z and millennials, and I'm like, we're all human, we're all family members, one way or another. Hello, it's just more of that making people fight, judging one another. Whereas we've already got huge chasms to communicate, given what they're looking at and what we think we know.
To me, it's like going to a Baptist homecoming and talking about the differences between all the coleslaw instead of just thanking people for bringing it.
Yes.
Because you're probably going to eat 5 or 10 of them. Just shut up about it. I don't see the point, picking them apart. There's just no point to it. It's all sustenance. If you can learn from it and grow from it, obviously you needed it, so stop picking it apart.
I try to introduce different videos because I keep telling people I'm not a whistleblower, it's my video blog. And so I share with my channel different creators and things that I don't watch all the time. But like you said, if I think I know it all, I'm leaving the room. And that's how I feel about a lot of perspectives, that I don't live there. I'm not in that opportunity range. So I'm curious. I just want to know, what are you looking at and why do you feel the way you do?
Yeah. And I think lots of times people want to look at you and they want to say, well, this is how she is 24/7. And if she's that intelligent, then she must be intelligent about everything, and so they kind of build this persona up in their mind about who they think you are. And I find that hilarious, because people also, they're like, oh, Elizabeth, you know so much about this. Do you know how many times a day I have brain farts? Like huge vapid moments in my life. And I laugh at myself because they're hilarious. You know, I forgot how to compute an angle the other day when David was making me help him build the frame for that shooting house he's working on. You know, and here, how many years of college do I have? And I forgot how to compute an angle. And, you know, and David just went right on it, you know, and the strengths and weaknesses, everybody has different ones. And to think that because you're smart in one thing, you're smart in everything, no. And then, but it kind of takes the human aspect away from you and turns you into something. And that's one thing that irritates me most about when you're on the internet is they've kind of taken the human component from you and turned you into a blurb. And I'm like, she's not a blurb. And that frustrates me a little bit. Because then they respond and they're even more hostile than they would be if it was actually a person they conversed with.
One of the things that I've been real stalwart about is that I've been disabled for 20 years, and I do this because I like helping people who want to help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're just curious. They have genuine questions. I love answering genuine questions.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart a little bit. We've talked about this. When the good people, they'll say, "Oh, Sabrina, I know you've repeated it all these times. Thank you for that. I'm sorry, but I just have a question because I don't understand." I said, "Folks, I'm never upset with y'all because they have real questions."
Yeah.
It's the grifter, con artist, attacky people that I get real fed up with because I'm disabled, and and I'm like, excuse me, no, like you said, I'm a human, I'm a person, and I work as hard as I can, you know.
Yep.
But we can just do what we can to beat the crap out of you, and I'm like,
they do, yeah. I get that a lot too.
We need to, because you know, I also come from a place of let's uplift one another, let's care about each other, and your level of comprehension about this topic could help so many people. Why? Because you explain it from your heart in a completely different way than me, and here's a big old group of people listening to me going, I think I feel something, she might be right, I can't understand, and then you speak up and they go, oh, I get it. It's like,
and when other people that watch me, they go, I don't understand anything of what she said, and they hear you and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right. So I kept telling people, you got to come from the level of your own comprehension, because that's what people are looking for. And you as a creator or writing articles or whatever it might be, you have no idea until you try to explain it from your own space.
Yeah, you don't know how people are going to process things. And so the more of us that are just on our own levels discussing what we're learning,
human to human,
that's
not
how we
title to title.
That's it. That's how we, when we can talk to people on those interpersonal levels and share information, that's how we make an impact and get information out there, because it's easily digested.
And in a community, just like in the animal realm. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think on YouTube, I'm gonna call YouTube out. I think on YouTube, a lot of people go on YouTube to find people and to find what they're good at, and then trip them up. Because one of the most popular things on YouTube is when they find out not popular things about creators, and they can turn them into monsters. You know, and so and I, every once in a while I just search my name to see if somebody's said something about me, because I think it's funny. But you know, most people that will watch that one video, they can watch my whole entire library and kind of understand who I am, what I'm about, but they can watch one video from someone else and see one perspective and then completely black mark me. And I think people do that because once they identify what you're doing and they say, well, this is where her strength is. If I can find one example of her misusing that strength or using a way that I can distort, number one, they can get a lot of views, and number two, they can change the narrative about me.
Narrative driving, yep.
And I'm sitting here going, why do you need a narrative when you can actually
have a conversation with empathic comprehension?
Yeah, and but we are an instant gratification society, and we want to know what we want to know when we want to know it, and we want it fed to us how we want it fed to us, and we think we deserve that. And I don't. I think if you want to learn something, you have to seek for it, learn it, comprehend it, digest it, roll it around for even years at a time, and then settle on your own perspective, and then it's that wisdom is granted to you. I don't think instant gratification. I don't think wisdom and instant gratification are synonymous.
I concur. Yeah. One of the things that frustrates me about your work, truly, is these younger people that start screaming like PETA crazies. That
Yeah.
really. Now, hang on a minute before y'all get judgmental out there, because it's happened way too many times. These young people that, oh, you killed an animal. Oh my goodness. Now, where I live in West Virginia, our universities are actively involved because we're over the New River Gorge.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch the migration of the populations for the water table, the
Yep.
forest, the ecology. That's what you and Dave work with.
Yeah.
Hardcore, same way down here. And, I mean, as far as like the fern trapping,
Yeah.
watching arborists,
You
etc.
have to know the plant life, how much you can sustain, what each animal on that property that you can estimate is there,
Mhm.
what they need to be sustained, the numbers so that it can be a healthy population, what you're
Mhm.
lacking, how to bring in what that land is lacking, like it was lacking fowl and insects.
Or like the beaver thing you guys
Mhm.
talked about one time when I was here. And other people, you're killing beavers. Oh my word, how dare you? And I'm thinking, hey, those beavers cost the life of a ton of different, like you just mentioned,
Yeah.
fish, fowl, and
Yeah.
other ecology
Yeah.
that is necessary for the health of the river, the soil. It's a very huge.
There's always an impact.
Yes, but instead they come for the throat of furring
Yeah.
and trapping, and I'm thinking, all right,
And as far
do
as
you
me,
live in a plastic bubble
they
somewhere?
do. Some of them do.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then once you realize that not everybody lives in the city in an apartment in New York, Manhattan, like you do, wouldn't you then go, oh, there's other foul fit, like I just said, in
They can't wrap their
ecology?
head around it.
Well, but then as you just said, then you have to take time to study and hopefully up your wisdom with,
Yeah.
with places and
It's
spaces. But they
what we're seeing.
attack.
Yeah. That's what we're seeing in politics right now.
Yeah.
They think that the only thing they can do is have an impact, but they don't understand that the impact goes the other way as well. So if David didn't trap the beaver, then what would happen is that they would block up more of the water table here, ruin
Mhm.
more land, take away grazing from the animals that do graze, kill a lot of species of trees and bush and stuff that's necessary, do away with a lot of the fowl nesting areas.
Mhm.
And eventually make their population so big that they would start to starve and get diseased out.
Yep.
So there's going to be an impact, and so we would just rather see them all healthy and balanced and harvested humanely, rather than sick and dying and constantly in upheaval.
Growing up in Wisconsin, deer season was for what you just said.
Yeah.
Deer season was not, well, I'm going to go get my gun. No, it was because if there are too many deer, they'd be laying on the side of the road, more accidents, and like you said, wasting, and just, it was not about what these, like I said, some of these people, they just assume the worst. And I grew up that way. It's still there. It's part of like keeping things copacetic in the ecology and life. Yeah. And people just freak out. And I wish they would communicate.
Yeah. Well, and then they go, well, the Great Smoky Mountains. Well, you don't know what the Great Smoky Mountains does, because I've been next door to the Great Smoky Mountains my whole life. And about every 12 years, they have a huge, massive die-off of some animal. But the one thing they do is they do bring in hunters now to go in at night and eradicate certain species. Right now, they're trying to eradicate a lot of hogs. In the 90s, in the late 90s and early 2000s, they had a mass die-off of the deer because they hadn't policed the deer population, and it got so big that they got very diseased and starvation. They would find they had to actually take wagons to the fields and pick up the carcasses because they were dying in such large numbers. And so they've gotten a little bit more smart now. The deer population is starting to make a comeback, but they're actually getting the sharpshooters and hunters in at night. They have permits, they're policed, and they harvest certain numbers in certain areas to keep the population down. So that's why you don't see as many animals in Cades Cove as you used to. They've kept the population at a healthier. That's why when you do see a deer now, it's fat and sassy instead of skeletal and sick.
That's right. Yeah.
And they're going to have to do that soon with the bears, because the bear population is getting out of hand. So they're going to have to start policing the bears, which they do actually kind of. Now we get a lot of the trouble bears from there, which I wish they'd take them back. But but they don't tell anybody they do that. So the people that just see it face value think that, oh, it's just harmony. No, harmony is very difficult.
Yeah, like I said, our university systems, the DNR, and because we have so much forest where we are in that southern West Virginia Valley area, they're all involved. And everybody, oh, it's just nature. No. And that's without bringing in the heavily populated, like Charleston versus the other areas and hollers where people live. If you let the bobcats, can't let them get too out of control.
No.
Because then they'll start, what'd you call that the other day? Lust hunting?
Lust hunting,
instead, and it gets dangerous.
Yeah, they forget to kill just when needed, and they just start killing.
Yeah, yeah. So I knew about that stuff, like I said, from growing up in Wisconsin, but it never occurred to me that people would just be so.
Well, I think we see it a lot in people too, because
Well, I know what you're drawing back to with
Yeah.
politics too. Very tunnel vision.
Mhm.
Would that be a?
well, and then
appropriate
people, they
description?
like these people that are protesting anything and everything these days. They don't really have a life. They feel their energy and intent comes from whatever they can scream at. So they just scream at everything. So I think even people are susceptible to the lust hunting.
Clicky.
Yep. So it's just like, do you see yourself? You're acting like a fox that's rabid, but okay, you know. But people they don't look at themselves like that.
And I think because of the removal of human connection,
Mm-hmm.
conflict is a type of connection.
Cognition is way down. Cognition and cognitive retention. And we're seeing early Alzheimer's and dementia issues in juveniles, which was purposely put into the population during our enforced segregation.
But when you're in those positions, that conflict, instead of being able to have a conversation, you have a conflict
Yes.
to meet that emotional
Mm-hmm.
sensation.
And then we forget how to converse at all.
Yes.
And then we don't communicate.
Yep.
And then we become stupid. And we're back to cavemen. Me big, me fire, me rub sticks.
Or you need to take more SSRIs with your 5 therapists and then dwell on your mental
SSRIs
dysfunction.
are not proven to do anything except augment chemicals, but they can't even prove if it does it in a positive manner. Listen, I diagnosed for years, and I read all the articles, and that's why I would never put anyone on of a certain age on any kind. I wouldn't refer them to the psychologist, because I was like, no, we're forming. We don't need to augment what's forming. We need to cope.
Right.
And
skills.
But there's nothing anywhere that says that those work. They know they augment chemicals, and they think these chemicals might have something to do with that, but there's no concrete evidence, none. And it's hard for people to hear that, because they need something.
And on the channel, I'm constantly explaining the 3 brain growth stages. I said, you're not avoiding cognitive neuroscience simply because you're lying about it. And it's what you're saying there about the, I'm taking pills and I'm always going consensus. Well, then how is your body
Messing stuff up.
and your neural nets how are you ever going to learn when the chemicals are doing it for you?
It.
And that to me is robbing people.
It is. It's robbing them of the melanation stage, when they concrete who they are, what they do, how they can process what they can process, and how well they can process it.
Yes.
And that's their bridge building
lymphatic,
era.
limbic, executive
That's
function,
their bridge building era. And if they don't build those bridges, then guess what? They have really short roads the rest of their life. And we see a lot of short-roaded people right now.
But in my opinion, it's because they target that second brain growth stage with as much stress, knowing the brain's like a sponge. And then, like I just mentioned it, the limbic system, that's throughout the whole body. Neurons are whole
Which
body.
controls everything.
Yes.
Everything. There's nothing that your endocrine, your limbic, everything. Everything. And then you look at your lymphatic and the drainage. Y'all see all the issues I have with my lymphatic system and the drainage, and how but honestly, when you start screwing with the baseline formation of chemical components in the brain, which makes the brain process and understand your environment, how do you come back from that? I think we're seeing now that you don't.
Yeah.
That's why some people, it's hard to make some of these older folk mad, because they've learned how to deal with that difference of opinion and varying options of who you want to be in life. And these young people are so adamant that you're wrong. You need to be vanquished from the earth. And it's because they have really short roads, because they've not learned that everyone's different, how to process differences and how to view these things and communicate and discern. And, they don't understand that, because they have those really short roads, because their brains have not been through the meandering that it needs to become its own thing.
And don't forget, here's your iPad. Well, an iPad or whatever is not another human. Different neural networks.
Yeah.
And they keep removing the human component. Put your wearable on. It's a headband. I about lost my ever-loving mind a couple weeks ago. 12 years old, put that Mendy headband on. They said it's for parents and children, and I quote, "It's neuroscience, and your child will not have anxiety. They'll be able to focus when they're learning." And
but they'll have an attention span of 0.3 seconds.
And like we were just talking about, when you are electrocuting the body.
Yep.
And you're doing that over and over again. The body's dependent on that. Let's sensate wearable, Apollo Neuro. So take it away. Now what's going to happen?
I mean, if I hooked you to a goat fence and knew you were going to get shocked every 2.5 seconds for 24 hours, I would have criminal charges and be in court. But our government does it at a much larger capacity daily, and they're getting away with it for free.
I brought up the other day, I said, you do realize that a lobotomy used to be a punishment?
Yeah.
And now it's here, 12-year-old, put this on. I love you. It's neuroscience. And I'm going, and as I said, changing the brain like that, at that brain growth stage, with electricity that it becomes dependent on, when you take it away, the headband, you take it away, what happens? Oh, we're not worried about that. Well, is there a reason for that?
It freaks me out because
Oh,
you
my
know
word.
a lot of the coping skills that people learn for later in life when you're an adult comes from what they're taking away from these children. So later in life, when you become an adult and you're in relationships,
Mhm.
you can work through a lot because you'll have a bond with somebody on a mental level, but it also becomes a physical bond in many ways. You understand, you rumble, time to rumble, you know, and you find people that you enjoy in those scenarios, and then you link up, and that's your partner for life, that's your mate. And they're taking away. They're trying to make everything cerebral, but then they're taking away your cerebellar growth. So they want you to have a limited capacity, but limited relationships and limited coping. Because when adults get really frustrated now, that physical attachment to somebody, and the things you do physically with people, sometimes that can kind of help you get through a squabble and something else, because you remember, you know, there are multiple facets to your relationship. These kids are not going to have that.
Yeah, I just read an article this morning.
they're
There's
not
no
gonna
more
have that.
ghosting. Now it's instant canceled. And even trying to connect with and we all know about hookup culture and all that. That we're talking 20-somethings that are, you know, like you just mentioned, I'm trying to find my person or whatever. You don't ghost them. Now after one date, you just tell them, nope, I don't like you. Here's why. Goodbye.
It's like they take away everything you need to find your person, knowing that it's going to frustrate you in the end.
But that's, in my opinion, prep for the AI boyfriend, girlfriend.
I think so too.
The product that they have now, they want them talking to the AI all the time, and they don't want them talking to the AI through an app.
So they want to be able to.
They want it here, agentic AI, that it's talking to you inside your tissue.
Instant control.
And these are legitimate products for business. If you want a job, you're going to be augmented. And I don't mean put a headband on.
It freaks me out.
It's called agentic AI. 2 years now, business. And everybody's going, oh, they can't read my mind. And that's what I meant by the chasm.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. What you were just saying about the older people, they have a better way of, well, is it better? Yeah, because it's human to human. I don't need an app, a lawyer, another anything in between me and another human.
Yep.
Because I care about that human. I want to hear you, value what you have to say. Then I want to understand it, which means I might need to ask questions.
Yep.
I'm not God. I'm, you know, like you mentioned earlier, if I think I know everything, I got to leave the room. But in relationships, I need to ask questions. Yep. And I need to have a way to do that where you feel honored, not attacked.
To respond.
And it's an exchange. Yep. Yeah. And they just removed all of it. Yep. Every time. And it's put your AI on, put your wearable on.
And it cracks me up.
I think it came from, though, when I was 18 working at Denny's, my manager could not give me ibuprofen, aspirin, or Tylenol. It was illegal. Next thing I know, when I had my babies in 2004 and 2005, well, why aren't you drugging them? I'm like, what?
Yeah, seriously, it changed that quick. Yeah,
it was that quick. Ritalin, and I said, my daughter is 2. Oh, she's got all these problems. I said, no, she's not. She's 2.
And for years,
brain growth.
For years, you never diagnosed or pharmaceutically treated unless they were over 18.
Yes.
Or there was danger.
And if it was under 10 or 8, that's illegal on all those levels. Not anymore. And then if we throw in the most recent, take your puberty blockers, messing with the endocrine system. Oh, it's affirmative care.
They took a lot of that out of the DSM, the diagnostic manual. So now they took them because they thought they'd hurt their feelings, but they can't get the help they need to combat it without having a label code, you know, for billing purposes and, you know, for treatment. So they can't go in and say I have this problem because it's not diagnostically said to be a problem anymore. So they basically have, you know, evacuated the whole. Let's talk about it.
But it was so political. My issue was if you're going to give affirmative care to an 8-year-old, a 13-year-old, and all this legislation and doctors and all this stuff 5 years ago, but the people that are 22 that already did that stuff, they could not get health care. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why are we so obsessed with 16 and all the way down
Control.
to 2.
Mentality and control.
Right, but you can't call that, well, I'm affirming you, I love you. But if you're over 18, screw
you. I don't have to affirm
That made
you.
no sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense to me.
That's not cognitive neuroscience. That's not endocrinology. Whatever it is.
That's called predation, is what it is.
Yes.
Because they're looking at the little kids going, we can change you to where we control you forever. But those people are so far out the gate, we can't get them back.
That's what I was worried about. Yeah.
So we're going to focus on you because we know we can control you.
Yep. And that's, like I said, when I got into the Mendy system, it's just one of many. And parents are being told, slap that wearable on. And I thought, well, what have you been doing for the last 15 years at least?
Would you hook your kid up to a goat fence?
Here's your phone.
Yeah.
Are we sitting at the dinner table? Are we even in the living room? Are we even on the porch?
Behave here, watch SpongeBob.
Yeah. And neurons don't function that way. You have to write it down. We removed a bunch of rote.
Well, now they can't even read and cursive writing. How? It's not that different. How do they limit capacity that quick? It's not that different. And they won't even try. You'll see a kid go, I can't read that.
Oh, cursive.
How about
writing.
you? Yeah, cursive. Why don't you look at it and try?
Basic paragraphs. All of it is AI. They can't live without it. They can't write without it. They did a 3-part study and went, well, AI actually makes you less intelligent.
Well, it does because you're
neurons that fire together, wire together.
Yes.
And
you're never making your bridges. You're never making your bridges.
Correct. And then if you write something down physically by hand,
I can see myself writing it down. I can remember it.
But if you type it, it's not the same.
Not unless you see it in your mind when you type it.
And even then, the physical pen to the paper,
it's very much more. Yeah, it ingrains it. It does fire differently in your brain.
And they took
pulls
that
up a different
away
load.
too. And I'm not hating on typing. Don't get me wrong. I understand. And other people use like a
it's
speech
different.
recorder.
It's a different part of your brain.
It's a different neural network.
It is. Yeah. It's a different part of your brain. Like I visualize when I type, so that's and that's about kind of the same lobe when you write. But a lot of people don't.
And they're not with the AI, with the way they go in there like prompt, tell me what this is. That's not the same thing as thinking it through. Like
my big thing is, where's our curiosity? I mean, it's gone. And what happens if you take away curiosity? Then we're never going to be creating anything. Well, how do we get everything we have? We had people that were curious, so they experimented and created and learned. We're taking away the base foundation of being able to function as a humanity, as a society, as a learned creature.
Necessity,
on the planet. Yes,
as the mother of invention.
It's just terrifying.
But you're not allowed to be curious because you could be wrong, and that's
probably the best thing that can happen is if you're wrong, because then you have to backtrack and question everything and start over.
Then you can grow.
You have definitive answers then. I don't mind being wrong. It teaches me just as much as when I'm right.
But then this new trend with people don't even get dressed on their own. They take the AI pictures of their closet and let the AI tell them what to get dressed in every day now. And other people went, how old were you when you had to dress yourself? And these are people with big old closets of purposely purchasing outfits and and they're like, well, let the AI tell me what to do. And why? Well, it knows better than me. And I'm going,
learn to be a herd animal now, because they're going to put you in the pen later.
Good. Here you go again.
I look at it as livestock. That's why, when we have a weaner and mule, we put a halter on its third day of life. We want it to get used to wearing that halter because we don't want to have a fight when it's 800 pounds. We want to have a fight when it's 100.
Baby elephant.
Because we win now.
Yep.
Yeah, we win now. And it's why you pair it with its mama, who's been taught to come in at dinner time, get in the stall, go out in the morning, stay away from the pond, answer the call when the farmer yells. And that's why you let that baby shadow that mama, because she will teach it, and it saves you a lot of trouble, and it creates a more conducive animal to put in the farm later with less struggle for the farmer.
So this is another thing I just thought of about my anger. I have children. And so I am very, very pissed because their future is augmentation or you don't get a job. I mean, it's a huge list. And I, like you just said about the mule and I said about the baby elephant, excuse me, those are my children. They're not mules and elephants. What are we doing here? Shut up. You're too angry.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, the picky part anyway you go. But I've got grandbabies and I've got terribly independent, sassy grandbabies. Genetics. Woo! And I'm terribly worried because our bloodline is not a very lay down and take it bloodline.
Mine are artists. They can't stand the AI because of the lack of creativity.
It steals.
And it steals from people, yes. You know what Trump said yesterday?
Oh God, I hate his
No,
AI stance. I hate. Go ahead, tell me,
This
but I
was
hate his
about
AI
AI
stance.
in particular.
I hate it.
And he's like, well, we can't be charging everybody because AI's got to have the ability to learn everything. And I'm like, So I tell you, your body, that doesn't belong to you. Your ideas, well, you can't monetize those because AI's got to learn everything. Okay, well, I don't care if it's a socialism discussion you want to fight and argue. That's not what I'm saying. This is like full on hive mind.
That's like a foundational
Then I'm
concern.
allowed to have my own ideas or
Yeah.
draw my own picture. No, you can't do that. The AI's got to know it all. This has come from my two children for 4 years. They've been.
It's a new master. It's a new master. They're just pawning it off as a helper right now.
So that curiosity to bring that back, that need fire, the necessity is the mother of invention. That curiosity, that ability to be brave and say, I could be wrong, look outside the box. We don't encourage that anywhere.
No.
Not in school, not in clubs, not in. And then the meme thing the other day, these people, younger people, 20, 25, they said, I see all these movies in the 90s and it says house party. Is that really a thing? And a bunch of us, Gen X, etc., were like, oh yeah, you would find it anywhere of all kinds.
We wanted to bond.
Yeah. And there were no, and you were not like this the whole time. There was no. There was all sorts of things going on. But the younger generations, they think it's a myth. They're like, no, that only happened in the movies, right? Reddit went crazy. They're like, no, that was normal. Not anymore.
BMX trails, riding. You had little BMX gangs. You rode in the neighborhood.
Yes.
We made BMX trails and jumps and
skateboarding.
Yeah, we were
on the fly if you had to.
Yeah.
We'd get together. Yeah.
And we put like little bells and stuff on our bikes so everybody in the neighborhood hears us pass so they'd know which way we were going and which field we were going to play softball in, if we were headed to the trails, if we're going here. Yeah. But I grew up on movies like the Brat Patrol with Sean Austin. It was Rudy before he was Rudy. He played one of those hobbits in Lord of the Rings. It's Lord of the Rings or to Howard, whatever those movies are. I don't know. The redheaded boy when he was young, he was in a movie called Brat Patrol. And it was about how little kids basically overwhelmed a nasty-minded military fiend and helped overcome a huge issue on a military base when they were trying to eradicate the trouble kids, and so rebellion was kind of bred into us in every way.
I never thought about that, but you're right.
And now it's not.
But it wasn't rebellion just for the sake of it. It was out of that necessity.
Yeah, it was out of
or problem solving to make a better situation for everybody.
It was a don't give up mentality.
Yes,
it's a don't give up mentality. And we don't have that anymore. I don't see that anymore. Now my daughter was very very. Oh, she did it her own way, and many times as a parent I had to say, listen, that's going to serve you well later in life, but right now it's just creating an issue. So you're going to have to pump the brakes a little bit right now, and you can go back to it later, And but I knew that when she got out, she would need that.
Yeah,
she would need that. It didn't do very well in the mother-daughter dynamic there for a few years after she got a little arrogant there for a while. But I didn't try to abolish that, just go wham, beat that out of you. Right. I thought, no, she needs it. She's going to need that later. So I had to find ways to deal with it.
Balance.
Our society is not even finding ways to deal with it. They're just completely trying to eradicate people that have any kind of free thought, any kind of conversation, communication, debate. Yeah, they want to erase it. And it terrifies me, y'all. We got a big paragraph here. I guess I could have looked at this.
I'm gonna grab more water.
Okay, go ahead. Why'd you lie? I'll answer this one. Why'd you lie says.
Why'd you lie?
She said, when I first started watching, I didn't understand why she was angry. And you thought she was angry at the viewers. And it is a learning curve. It is. And she talks about such a large library of topics that you can't go back and do an intro and outro to bring people up to speed. There's no way she can bring people up to speed with everything that she discusses. So if you don't have a few videos or the time and intelligence to go back and watch a few more videos, you can get lost. But then if you watch a few at a time, you'll get caught up. But that's why you need to be curious, and you need to have the desire to say, oh, I need context clues, and context comes from more time and energy.
What did I miss?
And well, she was just saying that it was a learning curve for her, but she understood once she watched a few videos, you weren't angry at the viewers, you were angry at the issues going on.
Oh, yes. And
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to lie. Everyone said, well, can't you just tell me nicely? And I said, do you realize the subject matter that we're talking about?
Yeah. Or they want to know, what do I do to fix this?
But there's no one magical fix because
No.
I'm not you. I'm not in your
No.
skin. I'm
Yeah.
not in your environment. I have no idea. I'm giving you everything I can think of. So
There's a
you
different
can assess.
solution for every human on the planet.
Because all of our cells communicate differently
That's it.
too with our environment.
And we're all going to be doing different things to combat this as time moves forward. And there's no one protocol.
That's based on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that's the best possible authentic molecular possibility.
Yeah. So what's going to work for someone else is not going to work for you. Somebody else's life choices that build something that they can actually deal with and, move forward with. It's not going to be the same as other people. Y'all know, y'all probably hear my neighbors that the way I'm going to handle things is going to be completely different way that my neighbors handle it. If you hear her bark,
Thank you.
oh, I thought you were going to come back and join us. If you hear her bark, run back in. I got Luna kindled right now so she holds her breakfast down. She does not like to be alone, y'all.
She is so fun.
She's a crackhead, but she did fall asleep in her lap yesterday. She's a crackhead for about 10-15 minutes, and then she chills out.
I like her ears. They're very cute.
She's very pretty, isn't she? I can see why they bred her, but it makes me mad that that's all they did.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me very mad that's all they did, and they hurt her the way they hurt her. That irritates me. We're trying to do everything we can, but she's got some issues that I don't think everybody would deal with, and so I'm hesitant to. I'm hesitant. I was hesitant to let them continue to try to look for a long-term family for her from that foster scenario because I didn't think everybody would be able to process the issues, or they would get her and give up because they think they would have the capacity and understanding, and they give up.
I know it's a lot, but I think it's God's grace that she's with you and Dave.
I think she's here for a reason, and I'm just like, if we can get her through it, that's great. If not, she's just with us forever, I guess.
That means I can come visit. Because you know what Anthony did yesterday? You walked out of the room and I said, oh, I love her. He goes, no. I said, that's not what it meant.
You create a parenting plan. It was a 6-month split.
Yeah, he was immediate. He's like, no. I'm like, what? Oh, that's not what it meant.
We'll be co-parenting here soon, y'all.
Who else is that really all going on at the same time?
Yeah, they've been talking quite a bit.
Oh, my word.
Why July said thanks for saying converse. It is. It's. You can't see anybody have conversations anymore. It's so rare.
Because it's that exchange.
Margaret said, but Ferdinand just wanted to smell the flowers. I love Margaret. Margaret cracks me up. That's right, Margaret. See, that's okay. Why July says I was very damaged by psychologists. That's what bothered me the most because I went through this long, just excruciating college educational thing. And what I figured out when I got through was not how I could use what I learned to help society, but was how they had weaponized it to be a control mechanism. So I wanted to help people, but all I learned was that they were going to use it as a control mechanism, and it completely stopped. I was no longer happy and excited about my line of work. It bothered me.
Not to elongate that thought, but just so we're clear, because you got letters behind your name or a piece of paper, you get to say that more fluently, but I completely agree with you. Checking the boxes on that DSM for database management.
Yeah, they turned it into something that it shouldn't have been. It should have always been about how to help people and helping them through the problems instead of monetizing and weaponizing the problems.
And one of my favorite things,
it's called a muffler. Thank you.
That you've often talked about is that when you have issues with family, you should be talking to your family, or at least try.
Yeah. Well, they don't even circle the wagons.
They don't even do that anymore. They're like, no, you got to go talk to some stranger because they know so much better than you. And I had this out with my children when they were teenagers because I told them, I said, how is this rando person that you're going to go talk to who doesn't live here, doesn't know the history? You could tell them anything you want, and they are going to mold what they tell you based on that. How's that going to help you with your actual environment?
In what other realm would you throw your child to a... Yeah? Oh, hang on a second. My thing was, in what other scenario would you immediately throw your child to a stranger? I'm going to turn you over to the screen. I'm going to go see what's going on.
Okay, I'm gonna take your chair. Margaret. Oh, Crystal, Lady Green. Hey, y'all. Oh, the sun has been so good. And the trees here in Tennessee, oh, they smell divine. Beautiful doe in my land right now. Yes. I'm really glad that Liz was willing to do this with everyone, because hopefully we're going to talk a little bit about that tumble effect that I've been trying to help people understand. If you can stay out of it, you probably should. It's not like these people don't know what they've been doing. And anytime there's drama and you are tertiary to it, I thought all people knew. If you're not directly right there in the middle, like you got a job in the White House, you ain't doing nothing to change out their drama. You can observe it, but it's our politicians. And I'm like, yeah, these are the days of our lives in the White House. And people will say on one hand, well, we know that these decisions are made for us. And then on the other hand, they're like, oh, but we can make a change. And I'm thinking, do you pay their bills? And the division between industry and politics. This is a totally different system than what I do on my channel. On my channel, it's usually me and the iPad. Damaged by psychotropics in ECT. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Crystal, for letting people know. It's we're on vacation visiting Liz, obviously, so it's very much on the fly. And my biggest heart fire with the psychological side is that people understand that you got to put your biofield back. You've got to have your bioelectricity. That's 40 to 60% of your endocrine system and 80% of your immune system. And they don't teach about the biofield. They don't let people work with it. They don't talk about it, but they use it for like everything they do. When it comes to the different ways they help people with healthcare, respiratory surveillance, assisted living, it's a huge list. And the what I was going over this morning when I saw they're now openly talking about, for 3 years on our channel, Synergy, we've been talking about Pentagon Directive 3009 and our electronic corridors with our Department of Transportation vehicle to everything. And that's driverless semis, logistics. 6 years ago, New York City. 4 years ago, Wyoming, Utah. And everybody just the last 3 years with our college textbook and all the other industry and business. As adults, we were just talking about these are the changes, this is what we're seeing. And the amount of work that people put in to be, in my opinion, sadistic to our community for trying to read, that really, really bothered me. I said, these people ordered a college textbook that had nothing to do with their life. And they saw very clearly, okay, autonomous drones and different systems. Meanwhile, the public is like, well, Amazon will use drones to deliver for me. And we're like, yeah, and they're weapons. Like in the Ukraine, oh, no, that's impossible. And it was just very jarring, very, very jarring. Because we thought for sure people would want to know. We're having an over-the-fence conversation. Well, either the chat has stopped or I'm not hitting the button properly. So if anybody has any questions for me in particular, now would be a good time because Liz is at the fence. There's always an opportunity when it comes to generating your own stem cells and talking to people about your actual experiences with your own precognition, the ability to see the future. It ain't magical. That's bioelectricity and neurons, which are body-wide. Spiders eat with precognition. That's the vibration of all the molecules in our environment. And I have a lot of trouble often with folks that come and go because they've learned their whole life that the aura is some spiritual, magical, needs a religion type of thing. And I said, is your liver religious? Do you need to have a religion to believe in your liver? And people get mad. And I said, well, and they said, no. And I said, okay. The biofield is your electrical heart. You ever had an EKG? Or when that guy that came in after the heart attack with the pads, did you want to sue him for electrocuting your heart? And people would kind of look at me funny and be like, no, I want to live. And I thought, okay, so what anatomy are they measuring for that EKG? I had to take people to the National Institute of Health. I'm like, it's right there. It's the biofield. And they said, no, that's religious. And I said, my liver ain't religious. And then they said, well, nobody knows. And I said, that's the Department of Commerce. You see this expression? This is the expression of a person who's like, if it's anatomical and they're using it for assisted living and all these different uh, wireless drugging and different hospice and at home healthcare, what's the big deal? They've been doing it since 2012. We should be talking about it for what it is. No, it's the aliens, it's religious. And I'm like, no, nope, it's your blood flow. Because your body's electrical, your heart's electrical. And when your bioelectricity, which is how your cells communicate naturally, get together with your neurons, which are body wide. If you've ever seen a mother be in a difficult situation with a toddler, like baby's foot gets stuck under a vehicle, and mom does some superhuman thing to save baby's foot, her arms don't rip off when she just magically lifts the car. And everybody goes, well, yeah. And I said, well, how is that possible? And people don't know. They've been taught to be afraid of their own body. And they've been taught that they can't feel their own body without talking to 5 doctors and all these specialists and other people. And I'm like, are these other people under your skin? Well, I can't feel it. I can't know. And that just really has always bothered me, because we have to be able to trust ourselves. There's nobody else under my skin. Well, there is, but I mean, there's just me at first, or well, that's what I was hopeful for, till I found out how long it had been going on. And once I realized that that was a 30-year system, and they were bragging about it at George Washington Hospital in DC in 2012, they were all excited. They wouldn't admit it anywhere else. And I thought, this ain't going to go well. Because eventually, when people find out that they no longer have a choice for their own health care, it's already done. And people are just now, today, I have a different video update to go up on my channel, because they're finally admitting that, yeah, the system's already here. And we've been fighting that for 9 months at least, where they kept telling people, oh, no, it ain't here. They don't have it. Then they tried to dehumanize the folks who got the poke. And that really upset me too, because I said, you got to stop telling these people fairy tales like the Book of Revelation or the aliens are coming or whatever. I said, you need to tell them the truth. It's a bio-cyber interface for something called bioelectronic medicine. And it ain't new. We're talking 2012. And then the access to our biofield, our human anatomy for all of this, that goes back to 1995. And it's how your Fitbit works, intra-body communication. It's a biofield. It's anatomical. And people kept saying, oh, no, it's mysterious. And I thought, if you do not tell people that you've had 3 decades with companies, that's not the same thing as military R&D. There's a process here in business. If you can't make it a product that is insurance reliable and reliable for, not harming you, well, then you're not selling a product. If you look up remote health monitoring market share, get ready for billions in the capital B. And that's why I was flat out offended that our community, not me, our community who did the reading, they were the ones that got attacked by doctors and nurses that damn well knew better. And then we had a big divide, because we have like Crystal, who knew, and that's a nurse. And certain people, as everybody knows, after the poke, a lot of the nurses left their positions because they didn't like how things went down with the intensivist and the AI in healthcare with the nurse software like Humetrics and other stuff. They had drop downs. There was no, well, we could give you this drug or this drug based on your situation. No, you had drop down menus. It's just, and now we have virtual nurses and RFKs on the Senate floor going, yeah, everybody will have wearables, rural healthcare. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about on the channel, because it's been commercial. Wide open companies, blue box hacking, commercial since 95. Entertainment, biomedical engineering, and then everybody said, oh, everyone's compartmentalized. They don't know. And I said, no, they know. It's a job. And then we went and found universities and conferences internationally, and that's where the college textbooks came from. So 3 years ago, I thought it'd just be a conversation. And like Liz and I were talking about there's no conversation. You're not allowed to read. And you certainly aren't allowed to define terms, not without a consensus. And I said, well, what happens when the consensus is lying or wrong? Well, no one's allowed to know but us. Well, who's us? These academic people? It just doesn't make any sense to me because it's about healthcare. If this were not anatomical, if this was, like entertainment or I don't know, because when it comes to human augmentation, that's your body, that's your health. It should have been a choice. No. And the databases are over 50 years old at the Department of Defense. It's all wide open to the folks at the military and the academic side. Career paths with our children, Washington, D.C. last week, IEEE Nano 2025, and they were there printing their business cards. They're in college. This is the future that's already here. This is 25 years of nano.gov. That's all you got to type in. It's all where all the tax dollars went. It's not a big secret. A lot of people claimed that it was all about depopulation and stuff, terrible, nightmarish suppositions. And as we continued on the channel to read through the white papers and the biodigital convergence agenda 2030 goals, because everybody knows about those that, oh, Greta cried, the planet is dying, and we got to do something. But what they left out was the human augmentation, the ubiquitous remote health monitoring. And everybody went, well, they don't have it yet. And I thought, 30 years is a long time to BS people when President Dick Cheney's pacemaker was wireless in 2007. And again, in 2012 with the Medical Body Area Network. And so I really thought by now there'd be a lot more people curious instead of furious or trying to protect themselves or their children. No, that's when last time Liz and I got together and talked about the M-band, she made the best joke because she said, well, it's like when the cow is giving birth to the calf and it's emerging from the birth canal. It's been 30 years. It's still emerging. And I said, if you look up on the Wikipedia, just a basic definition, emerging technologies, and you look at the left-hand side, you will find out that your cryptocurrency wallet, it's not here yet. So you're having a hallucination. You're not really trading cryptocurrency. There ain't nobody buying that that's into crypto, okay? And they're like, that's ridiculous. And I said, oh, there's more. Artificial intelligence, it's not here. We don't have it. It's not real. And it says this on the side, 3D printing. Oh, no, it's not here. It's not real. And I said, are you watching this wordplay? We're just literally changing the definition of words, lying about what we're doing at college and at work for 30 years. And then on the right-hand side, people went, that says transhumanism. And I'm like, yeah, it's called Human 2.0. And you will not like it when you find out that's mandated worldwide for something called GDP, which is gross domestic product. You are considered, you, the human, not what you do at work. No, your body, is a bio-tokenized economic component. The digital ledger technology that they use with their crypto, that's molecular communication in our biosphere. We're like fish in a fishbowl. We're here and here's all these molecules. Well, cells, molecules in the body, they use something called bioelectricity to communicate. And they don't use AOL, and it's natural, like how the bees signal the flowers and how we body to body communicate. Yeah, they have all that in a button press. That's what they've been doing. And that's why I thought it would just be a conversation, piloerection, and everybody be like, oh, okay. But then when we continued to study, especially in our community, people got blocked. They weren't allowed to say W-band or M-band. And no matter how much we showed hospitals and other universities, college students, the attitude was always the same. That's none of your business. And I thought to myself, if this, again, were any other topic, something external from my own body, then I could say, okay, well, then we could talk about it. But they're under our skin. And she was talking about earlier, I have brain farts the other day because you swim in acronyms in computer networking and the military both. And I couldn't remember NatSec, national security, which is one of the most common excuses for everything. And everybody goes, well, we need to defend the country. And I'm like, why have you been under our skin for 30 years commercially, selling access to our bodies? What's going on? And our DNA now, oh, beautiful butterfly, is traded on the NASDAQ. 3 years now. The FDA waived the right to consent. FDA Modernization Act 2022 uses the digital twin. People don't even know what that is. It's right there with the DoD for 50 years. That's why I said 30 years with companies and nobody's talking about this. So, in the last year on our channel, a lot of people noticed that their loved ones' behavior radically changed. It was very frightening. Meanwhile, in 2023 in Forbes magazine, we had the Internet of Behaviors available. That's why I got upset about the Mendy on the 12-year-olds. I said the Internet of Behaviors is all about augmenting your physical behavior. So the longer we stand around and pretend that, I don't know, aliens or whatever are going to show up any minute and change something, rather than holding our own vocations, professions accountable to the precision AI healthcare. At least that's what I thought. And then I found out, no, this is all done. It's already finished up. They're done with Agenda 2030. And people said, we can tear down towers. And I said, you don't understand. Your body is the tower. And folks couldn't connect that because for 100 years, the human anatomy, previously known as the aura, now known as the biofield, was removed from the National Institute of Health purposely and hidden away with other sciences about oscillation, cymatics, power of sound, photonics, and we generate biophotons naturally by breathing and walking around. So photonics, plasmonics, it was all taken away, shoved into private academia, tested during World War I, II, Cold War, and then weaponized the radar system to the microdoppler. And we think it's for the weather. It's for bodies. They connected everybody to the cloud and said, well, it's for your safety. And I thought, then why is it that when our community talks about it, there's so much pushback and people screaming like 2-year-olds, making up stories and freaking out about religions or belief systems? I'm like, my liver's not religious. This has to stop somewhere. I think it stopped with the youth. And that's kind of a scary thing to think about. She coming up back. And that's why Liz is one of my people to talk to about this stuff, because with her psychology background plus the time she spent with her time with parole and people and real human to human challenges, she's just a wealth of knowledge for problem solving when you really love your family. And she's a really good cook. Jill, if you see this, thinking of you. Okay. So she's a really good cook and she's really funny. And we got to craft together yesterday. That was a lot of fun. That chat's froze up, y'all, so I'm not seeing anything new. Otherwise, I would have taken a question or two. It's so nice out here. You should hear the bird bats running. That gives y'all that don't know who I am an overview to our channel. Most people know that, they have dreams that come true and they react to their environment, empathy, telepathy, precognition, all the different words and terminology they give for clairvoyance and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, welcome to bioelectricity and neurons and cognitive neuroscience. I don't think they want to share. I don't think they want anybody to know how they're logging into other human beings, because the databases are robust. And their answer for the rural healthcare, the digital nurses, satellite to body area network, or just body to body. But we do not currently have any access to our W-band or M-band or our digital twin systems due to that national security. Excuse me, it's called cyber biosecurity, DHS, biosurveillance. And I tried to help people. I said, we don't even have access to this now. The best we can hope for is that they will give us curated access. That means that we don't have access anymore under our own skin, under our own auspices. And people just, they cannot jump that hurdle because they are so convinced that this human anatomy, that's our electrical heart and neurons body wide, oh no, that has to be a religious thing. If I just don't believe in it, it doesn't affect me. Which is why you'll often hear me say, my liver affects me whether I believe in it or not. It's an internal organ. Well, your aura is anatomical. It's an organ generated by your blood flow, your veins and arteries running blood through your body, your heart beating. It's a toroidal field. And that's biophysics, which a lot of people, they're like, physics, oh Lord. But that's what it is. It's just basic, natural being a human, being, not a human doing. And I just wish that more folks were willing to step forward and be honest with what they've been doing at work and school. Because that's really where I think that if we were able to do anything, and I'm really not convinced we are, people would much rather be involved in the soap opera of 9 years now of, well, we're going to get them and we're going to this and we're going to that for 9 years. I don't think so, Tim. Oh, food.
Yeah.
And then other people, again, they're like, we'll tear down the towers and we'll rise up. And I said, no, you're not. It's biology. It's biology. It's not that easy to just tear things apart. These systems are built with our golden dome for protection. These systems protect our smart agriculture, our water, our soil. And of course, pacemakers and insulin pumps, 1999 medical implant communication system. So until we can actually start communicating human to human again, if we can, because again, there's also the system on a chip, organelles and organoids, people who have agentic AI embedded in their tissue, and that's been going on for 15 years at hotels and university. Human augmentation, human 2.0. That's why I recommended you go to the Wikipedia for emerging technology and try to realize that on the left hand side of the screen your AI is not fake. It's not emerging. They've already had it for a while. Same thing with the cryptocurrency. And your Bitcoin and all of that is built off of digital ledger technology, which is the same thing as all these different networks. And then, of course, when it's nice to be here and just relax, have some tea, do some crafting, etc. A lot of the folks that tried to talk about these different changes, they were and still are, a lot of them, convinced that it's going to be some big apocalyptic event and all these theories. And I shook my head and I said, I don't think so. That's not a popular opinion. So I really don't think so. I think they did a lot of that to make people give up, shut up, and stay out of the way. Because I noticed that all these different stories and people were making huge money in podcasts and all these theories. And I'm not being hateful to nobody, how you make your money, etc. But it was always the same fear dynamic that there was nothing you could do anyways, so just wait for, fill it in. In reality, business doesn't like transparency. So when we don't know what people are doing at work and at college, that's going to bite us in the patootie. It's coming. And that's where I think we are now, because the chasm between the people that are young going to college for all this and who already have careers, and those of us who are parents and grandparents, like Liz is a grandma, I am not, but it's almost impossible to try to build that bridge of communication because of all these people who are very emotional. They're very convinced the world's about to end. And I would say that most people know that we're going through a transition in history. They already know that. Well, you would think that would mean that as humans, we would come together and help each other. So in our community, we work hard to uplift one another. We definitely do not all agree. I like it that way. We're very respectful of one another's opinions, and we are very honored to have so many excellent people in our community. They're good with research. Others are really good with mitigations, different types of triage for electronic warfare, which is another place people don't even know our warfare doctrine in the United States today. I ask them, what warfare doctrine are we under via the Pentagon Law of War Manual, updated since 2015? Bare minimum. They have no idea. They think that they're going to get their gun. I said, nope. You don't bring a gun to a plasma weapon fight. These are photonic systems. That's lasers and all sorts of other things. And when they go to a new warfare, like mustard gas or whatever else, they don't tell you ahead of time. It's like ambush, mustard gas in World War I, different types of tanks, guerrilla warfare in Vietnam. I often bring up the Revolutionary War in America because Britain said stand in a line, and the Americans were like, well, hell to the not.
I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
I was trying to talk into women's shoulder.
So I'm going to finish that thought. So if you don't know the warfare doctrine of your own country and where you're living, how does that not make you uncomfortable? I thought. Like, how are they protected? I like your shoes, by the way.
I got complimented by her too.
Now, is the chat froze, or do we get kicked out?
Lots of times they freeze me because they get irritated with me.
Is that what
Yeah.
I got mad is don't get out.
They get irritated with me and they'll try to freeze my chat and do a whole bunch of things. I just keep talking. I figure the one thing I'm good at is just keeping going. Sorry about that, y'all. I had the pregnant girl next door is feeling faint, and I gave her some food to mellow out to get her sugar back up, and tried to talk into a women's shelter. Oh no, I don't. It's just I must have like the Pied Piper or something intrinsically within me. I don't know what it is. It's frustrating, y'all. But save one before she gets too deep, possibly. She said, "Well, I think he's the perfect man." I said, "You can find a pogo stick anywhere." Maybe she'll listen to me. I don't know. She will. Maybe she will.
There's that wisdom again.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Oh my.
But well, yeah. I just wanted to show the human component here. We've showed about 17 different layers.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sweating. I worked up sweat. That's hot. That sun is hot.
It is hot.
That
Yes.
sun is freaking hot, man.
I started running buckets sitting out in front
I'm ready
of
for
the-
some AC. I'm fixing to have some boob sweat rolling down me. Lord, I got some information though, so that was good.
Before we go, the political side. I told
Okay.
people to stay out of the tumble effect.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect too much from people that lie every day anyway.
And that you don't have any say in their business affairs.
No.
You're not on the board of directors.
No.
You're not there doing the job, or you know what I mean? Like interfacing.
Hold out hope, but don't think they're a savior.
Observe, don't
Mhm.
absorb.
That's it. Yeah, hold out hope, don't think they're a savior, and expect them to make decisions based on what they want rather than what we need. Because when people get to that top level, like I said, once they get to that certain level, they're all crooked as a dog's hind leg in some way, shape, or capacity.
Mm.
They've learned something on the way up to make themselves more comfortable, and they stop worrying about everybody else's comfort. And that's just an intrinsic human issue when it comes to power. Sadly.
Yeah, think about that. Power
Sadly,
dynamics and
yeah.
human behavior. Yep.
And yeah, once you get the hand up on power, you don't want to lose it ever again. So you just keep looking for that power dynamic to prostitute.
Yep.
Apt word, the one I just
So
went through.
what I tell our people is you focus on you, and joy in the face of adversity is an act of rebellion. Preserve your peace and nourish your joy. What makes you
Yeah.
really happy? Truly.
Be prepared, but don't be detrimental about it. Find joy in the fact that you have the brain capacity to understand you need to be worrying about some things, but don't worry about them all the time. Find some happiness in the fact that you got some common sense left, and you're aware to discern your environment and pick up on things that other people don't see.
And knowledge is a part of preparation as
Mhm.
well. So then hopefully your anxiety goes down because you're like, oh, that's what that is. And then you'll know what to do when the time comes in your own environment.
But what do we write about in every historical text about any kind of culture anywhere? They wrote about war, famine, harvest, celebration.
Mm.
They still took time to celebrate.
Yep.
And that's what mostly people remember.
Mhm.
So don't take that out of your life. You take a lot out of your life if you take that, celebrate even the smallest things. Heck, I was able to give somebody a Meliola and a boa Alfredo. That's a big thing to some people.
I was going to say gratitude, praise, singing,
Mm-hmm.
enjoying, like I'm enjoying some cold water, like you said, getting in the air
And
conditioner.
it elevates your own vibration, makes you happy. It does
Mhm.
good things for you health-wise, mentally. It's just, kind of a palate cleanser.
And find people that are willing to dance through the rain with you, not just abandon you the first time things get kind of uncomfortable. You
Yeah.
want to be around folks that are versatile
Laugh at the storm.
and they can, make jokes along the way. You're going to need to. If you can't laugh while things are going on, you go crazy.
Yep, absolutely.
And super stress, cortisol is not your friend.
No.
But if you're laughing, oxytocin for the win, y'all.
That's why I have my little blurbs, and because if you can't find a way you can look at it where you can eat the problem will eat you. So I just try to be the more carnivorous one. That's just the only way I'm going to win right now. So that's what I do. So, well, I think y'all got a human component. We got a lot of human components in this, but what I just had to do. So, but I just wanted to see, this is how I see her. She can cook really good too. She makes really good, like, patty melts and sandwiches. And I made a really good salad. I did. That was really good salad.
Oh, yes.
That's really good salad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to find something later. Well, we still got Alfredo for lunch. I've still got a whole good bowl of that left over. But I can put another tomato pie together, or we can find something to make.
Yeah, my husband was loving that pie too. That was really good.
I've got some Kia Boss in the fridge.
Ooh. Haven't had that in a while.
I got the turkey kind because David can't have the hog kind anymore. He don't like him.
Try to treat people as you want to be treated. That's a real thing.
Yeah, even as mad as I've been with what's been going on in my neck of the woods, I still try to tell her you're worth more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself somewhere where you can move upward instead of rolling in the mud.
Uplift. And that doesn't mean you do the work for someone. You got to be careful with that, like saving a drowning person.
Yeah, you got to see energy from them. Otherwise, you're just going to waste yours. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. That's why I told her 22 years I've never seen any upward momentum, any motivation. Please do not get stuck here.
Yeah.
So, and that's all I can do. I can't change her mind for her. I can just give her insight in what I've witnessed and hope that she heeds it.
It's true. You can't do the work for other people. They have to come from their heart and be willing to protect themselves.
If I could have fixed everybody on my caseload, I'd never wrote a warrant my whole life.
Yeah. Yep.
But sometimes it mattered more that I wrote the warrant.
And coping skills. Not just coping, not hopium, not just, I'm going to get through the day. No, real skills to help you focus with that inner peace that doesn't change. There could be a tornado touching down on the front lawn. That inner peace is solid.
Yeah.
You need that. And remember, even if you don't have children, do you have friends? Do you have people in your community, your neighborhood? They're watching you. And you never know who's looking up to you.
Yeah.
So that's an opportunity that by your own choices, you can uplift others just by existing.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is just satellite somebody and show them a version of us that they can learn from and they can look up to, and maybe they'll think about it and make them be a better person, an even better person than we were, and then it just keeps going.
And if they come back around with a celebration, a triumph, and you go, all right, that's back to that celebration again.
Yeah. Well, I love to champion an underdog because when they win, it's more satisfying. But it's also a bigger gamble half the time. But, I'm prepped for that, so we'll do it. So
Little roll of the dice.
Yeah. But this is the humanity side. So I just wanted y'all to see that because I know yous always want to, like, pelt her with questions and poke her and prod her and see what makes her tick. And sometimes it's just about seeing a person.
I went through all the different terminologies so that anybody who hears it, they can start their Google fingers. Mm-hmm.
But, like, half the time when we're talking, we're just talking about crap. We just have normal friend conversations,
I love you, Heifer.
Heifer, you're my pearl. If you haven't seen that one, that was when I made Bob the gnome. That was a Dr. Pepper fueled live. that was a hectic.
Bob lives in my house.
Bob was a trip, let me tell you what. Oh. That was a funny day. I have those every once in a while. So, but I'm going to go check on Luna. We just want to spend some time with you. I always like to show you the calmer side of things. I didn't know I was going to have to perform any kind of social work at the moment, but hey, it happens. But good. She give you a good chat. Different platform, new people, different perspective. It's all good.
If you go to the Rumble, if you prefer to listen instead of having to always watch, I do a lot of reading out loud for folks and explaining things that seem overwhelming. Bringing it down to a more simple level, if you just type in Synergy, PSINERGY, on the Rumble, you'll see my face in the red college textbook. And there's a ton of learning there. And it's all labeled. You can just pick something that seems interesting. And if it doesn't, click out of it and find something else that does. And you'd be surprised how much you probably already know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at it as a load of gravels, you probably got a whole you've got a whole roadway built somewhere.
Yep.
It just you don't necessarily put them in the same road until you start learning.
Terminology. That's really usually the hiccup, because people know things by so many different words, experiences. They got terminology for everything.
And it's half the way how they hide stuff from you.
Acronym
So
soup.
just learning, and understanding it. When you hear those, you can see what it is in your brain, and you don't have to. You learn it once, you start putting things together. So it just takes repetition and time. So.
And our lives are a lot of fun. So if you see lives on the Rumble, they're usually like 2 to 3 hours. And you'll hear us laughing and making jokes.
I bet you it's coming to my house. Who else gets delivery? Oh no, it's a budget rental. Oh, I bet you're trying to pick something up. Good luck. It don't exist anymore. I remember the Sunday drivers. Didn't know it was a dead end. No. Oh dear. Howdy ho, who are you? Oh no, it's a delivery. They just rented a budget rental car. Hey, it's mail for me. I like mail. It makes me go, what did I buy? Do I remember?
Surprise.
Do I remember what I bought? No. This is probably stuff for Luna. I buy stuff for my dog all the time. It's for my dog. Hello. Your hairdo reminds me of middle school. That was a nice trip back. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Be
Good
safe.
ink, too. Look at the ink.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it
Me
too.
too. He doesn't realize we're in the 90s. Vanilla Ice just right there. Does it not? He's a time warp. That scared the crap out of him. Oh, God.
A different combo. I was wondering if you were going to say something about the ink. Most people don't know how much ink you got.
I know. I said it's very well hidden.
Mm-hmm.
They see my arm.
Was it Ellie Mae and Freddie? And...
I've got all my grandbabies and Freddie and Phoebe and a bird for everybody that passed away on my caseload. And I had my upper bicep planned out, and then my tattoo guy died. He passed away. I miss him. Miss him a lot. He was a funny guy.
Now, I don't have any, but I've always heard, including in Vegas, that once you find the right person, you tend to stick with them as long as you can.
Yeah, I probably would have got a whole bunch more ink had I stuck with him. The only thing I've added since then is my grandbaby's names. And I had a guy up here that he does really good font work. He's a good fine liner. I had him do it just because I knew it was work. But I wanted them all done. Like the twins, I wanted theirs done in the same. And they're kind of aggressive babies. They definitely have their own personality. So I had it done more of an aggressive font. Ellie Mae was more of a little princess font because she was the first grandbaby and kind of clouded and all that pink frou-frou-ness,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm running out of space. And I'm not going to let anybody do my bicep unless I trust them. So I've not found anybody to trust yet. I had a really good tattoo guy. His name was Dave. I don't remember his last name, but I called him Harley. He went by Harley in the tattoo office, but he was just a gem. Everybody thought he was mean, but he was just a gem. He was just the nicest guy.
Mm.
He's just he signed, when he found out what was going on, he signed his organs, and he basically told him handpicked what they could harvest. Yeah. And so he had 8 things that he could give away, and he signed everything, and they immediately they went ahead and was finding people while he was still alive. And he said, go ahead and start looking because they were time-sensitive ones.
Yeah.
And he facilitated all that, and he was able to impact 8 younger people. Mm-hmm. So, good guy. Good guy.
Wondrous soul.
Mm-hmm. Don't find him very often.
But don't forget, everybody, you are beloved and wonderfully made, regardless of what you believe in or don't. Everybody's heart is electrical. Everybody got electrical anatomy, and everybody wonderfully made. And beloved by somebody. You never know until you realize that there's somebody out there, they want to hear from you today because they appreciate you in some way, even if it's small. One little act of kindness. My friends in Vegas, they had nothing to that they could rub together to money or nothing. But this one lady, she was on disability, so really, really poor, but is poverty line wise. But she always bought the favorite candy bar for the cashiers when she would go out shopping.
Oh.
And she also would always say thank you, and she would use their name and ask them
Yeah.
how their day is
Personal.
and be appreciative. And for me, it's been that way with cashiers and servers.
Yeah.
Living in
I always
Vegas
try
for
to talk to
7 years,
everybody.
people are invisible.
Yeah.
You know, until they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you never know the impact you could have for months at a time just by showing basic kindness,
Yeah.
especially to people in those service positions, because so many people look right through them.
Yeah. I always talk to all my cashiers and waitresses and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm constantly. I end up knowing something about them, and I end up looking for them when I go back through.
Yeah, but for me, it came from my time working at Denny's, 17, 18. That's hard work.
Yeah.
And a Greek restaurant when I was 16. Friday night fish fry. You were running. Goodness.
Kim's she did some work when she was younger in restaurants and stuff. She's always told me about how rough it was
Mm-hmm.
because you have to deal with 500 people's emotions in the restaurant. you
Uh-huh.
know, And
Yeah.
so you
And
kind of
that's saying nothing about the cooks, because if the cooks mess it up, they're blaming you anyways
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
the face.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're the sacrificial lamb.
Yes. So you got to be friends with everybody at 110 miles an hour.
Yep, and fix everything, and make sure it's perfect.
And if they said it wrong, it's still your fault.
Yep,
And you got to smile and go, oh, I must have
they
messed
had a
up.
bad day. It's
Mhm.
on you at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just how people are.
But that's why that kindness that randomly comes along. Like I was so
It's a
tickled. She
refresher.
was so fun.
It's a little energy zap that
Yep.
kind of takes out the
And
negative.
young or old, either way, those cashiers that just light up like a Christmas tree.
Mhm.
Like, you thought of me? Me? And
I normally carry on conversations when I said the next time we'll pick it up where we were and keep going.
Mhm.
So that's what I find fun. I have a few that I just do that with all the time.
There were a few of them that she would run into that would stick around, but Vegas is so transient. It was
yeah.
like such a turnover
Rollover.
of people. There were a handful, but and she only got to go out shopping usually twice a month. Because again,
That's about like I do.
yeah, living on top of the mountain, it's not like you're getting out and around all the time.
Oh, that breeze is nice.
It is nice.
Oh, Lord, it was getting stagnant. Okay, well, we're going to go in and hit the air conditioner because it's a little warm out here. And visit some more and chill out on a compost what I just heard.
Stay out of the tumble effect.
Yes.
Preserve your peace.
Be happy. That's the biggest thing you do is be happy. Find a reason to be happy and then stick with it.
Find the souls you're grateful for and treasure them with purpose.
I'm treasure.
Amen.
I'm treasure.
You are.
I'm a Muppet too.
That was awesome.
AI made me a Muppet. I may show you later. I don't know. We should share that. That was
I couldn't believe he did that. He's never used AI with nothing.
that was hilarious. That's the one thing that's AI that I may share because that
was funny.
that was
Yep.
good. I thought, see, I knew I'd be a hot Muppet. I'm gonna leave you with that one. That's just blowing y'all's minds. I know. Okay, y'all be good. I've sweat myself to death. I'm gonna go and take care of Luna. Love yous. Bye, guys. Whew.